With profound and reverent interest, the elders of Israel should have been studying the place, the time, the circumstances of the greatest event in the world's history, the coming of the Son of God to accomplish the redemption of man. GC 313.2. There is no evidence that Christ is expected, and no preparation for the Prince of Life. In amazement, the celestial messenger is about to return to heaven with the shameful tidings when he discovers a group of shepherds who are watching their flocks by night, and as they gaze into the starry heavens, are contemplating the prophecy of a Messiah to come to earth and longing for the advent of the world's Redeemer. Here is a company that is prepared to receive the heavenly message.
But I want us to see what was the prevailing attitude in many of the ministers' minds. Read with me now. Volume 5, page 714. It says, when the national reformers began to urge measures to restrict religious liberty, our leading men should have been alive to the situation and should have labored earnestly to counteract these efforts. It is not in the order of God that light has been kept from our people, the very present truth which they needed for this time. Then she says, not all our ministers who are giving the third angel's message really understand what constitutes that message. The National Reform Movement, now in brackets I'm putting Project 2025 because it's the same movement but now in a modern state. And it is coming with more force and more power and more influence. Says the National Reform Movement has been regarded by some as of so little importance that they have not thought it necessary to give much attention to it, and have even felt that in so doing they would be giving time to questions distinct from the third angel's message. May the Lord forgive our brethren for thus interpreting the very message for this time. Do you hear this, beloved of heaven? Prophecy was fulfilling right before their eyes, yet the leaders knew not that it is happening. We are told that many of them, they regarded the matter of so little importance, they did not think it necessary to give it much attention. And do you not see history repeating itself now?
Where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18.
The old Baptists would certainly be in favor of a hey, no ordinary commerce on a Sunday.
Right. How much of an incrementalist are you? Does your ideal political leader get into power and then shoot the moon, Sabbath legislation, the whole deal, or do you wade in from the shallow end?
Yeah, I mean, you always have an ideal. You have the perfect regime, but you have to assess the situation. You have to understand the characteristics and nature of the people. So you mentioned 55%. I don't think that you even have to have 55% of support or a majority. I mean, I guess I'm an elitist in that sense, but in the way there's a lot of people who will just kind of shift with the imagination set by the people, the ruling class. So you actually don't need like a majority support of the population. You just need a strong-willed minority, and then that ruling class can shape the imagination of the majority, which I think Trump is doing now, because for decades we've had a very kind of weak right when it comes to imposing your will upon the executive branch, and now he's actually revealing to the country that, oh wait, there is this executive who's vested with the executive power, who can exercise power within his branch.
We've seen those discussions with Stephen Wolfe where it's going that direction. And our concern is that long-term down the road, our people are going to be facing imprisonment in the future as they did back in 1888.
So, and if that were to happen, that would be bad, right? But if that bad thing happened, it would be way better than what you're going through now.
Do you see what they are saying, beloved? Do you hear the language that they are using? And you see how that they are open about it, that they are going to, they are gunning for the enforcement of a national Sunday law. This pastor, who is a very prominent Christian nationalist, when he was asked by some of our own teachers, Walter Waite and them, in a very wonderful interview, I would recommend that you watch that interview or that podcast. It is very enlightening, very, very important, beloved friend, that we see things like that. But when that man was asked, he says it's true that maybe the enforcement of Sunday might eventually result in very negative consequences for Seventh-day Adventists. But he says, it's the better of the two evils. Bad things are happening now. We want to reform the nation. Would rather persecute Seventh-day Adventists than to have abortion and all of these things. Are you with me? So basically what I'm saying is that the people's minds have been made up. If it means persecution of Seventh-day Adventists, it means they are going to do it. Rather than to have things in the current state. And I repeat the quotation from Inspiration, a great crisis awaits the people of God. Beloved, we are besieged. We are being besieged slowly. The siege is not complete, because were it complete, beloved, it would be too late. But we need to make necessary preparation. Country living is very important. Character preparation.
Witness those holy men of God as they inquired and searched diligently concerning revelations given them for generations that were yet unborn. Contrast their holy zeal with the listless unconcern with which the favored ones of later ages treat this gift of heaven. What a rebuke to the ease-loving, world-loving indifference, which is content to declare that the prophecies cannot be understood. GC 88344.3.
Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand.